Good morning. It is Saturday, October 5th, 2025. And today's topic is about life and time. Life and time. And you can't have life without time moving forward. And it moves forward. It doesn't move backwards. It doesn't stagnate or remain still. And like so many things in life, if you stagnate, you become like a pond of stagnant water. It becomes fetid. It becomes putrid. It becomes a very hostile environment to live in. And this tendency that we have in life to always try to compare men to women, this is one point where men and women diverge. I mean, literally move in totally opposite directions. And remember this, I watched a video and in the comment section, somebody said something that I thought was very profound and very interesting, which was the thing that prompted me to do this video. Life humbles men, but time humbles women. Just think about that, folks. Life will humble a man because he's going to go through all kinds of experiences and things. And ultimately, if he learns the lesson, he'll be able to live a very excellent life in his latter years. And that's what women should pay close attention to when reading the Bible story and living life. I know a lot of people here in the United States, relies on the Bible. A lot of women go to church, and when the minister is reading these passages, a lot of times the passage is read out of context. And the reason why it's read out of context is that the minister can take full advantage of you, or the female minister is going to take advantage of it. And the evidence of being taken advantage of is the very people who you trust to give you the message isn't really giving you the message. In fact, I'd say the telltale sign of a good minister is that they're in the trenches with you, encouraging you to live a holy and righteous life, not to live a riotous life, indulging in gluttony, because most of these ministers at a lot of these churches, they're overweight. That should be one sign that gets you to say, you know what, this is a place I don't need to be. But the contrast is that a man has to work to get out of the mud. He has to work to become attractive. He has to work to be considered good. He has to work. And that every aspect of a man's life is predicated on the notion that he's going to have to work. And we can see this in the book of Genesis. The Bible story of the first man and woman. For their disobedience, God punished man by telling him, you're going to have to work, and it's not going to be easy. By the sweat of your brow shall the earth yield forth its strength to you. So God is speaking to that one man as if he's all alone. And he was the only man on the planet. But that's going to apply to every man that comes into this world. So one of the big failures that we do in our culture is we like grouping people in statistical groups and stuff. But we fail to mention in talking to these people that the statistics only matter in terms of society. They don't matter to you as an individual. Case in point, if studies show that the odds of your marriage succeeding or failure is 75%, your marriage is the only one that matters. Your life is the only one that matters. So this is still demonstrative of the miseducation of the public. Everybody wants to take offense and get insulted at these studies and statistics when all they're doing is basically showing you who's dumb and who's smart. That's it. That's the only reason why a person who's on one side of the statistic gets upset and the other person doesn't. Because somebody's winning and somebody's losing. But getting back to the point of this video. Life humbles a man, and if a man is truly humbled, he will prosper. He will be very successful. In the context of if he's able to read the tea leaves and understand his place in society, and he's trying to live an upright and morally good life, he's going to have to work hard. And some people taking the easier route where they do immoral things and they try to justify it because of their financial results. They're the ones that are going to have a whole lot of headaches and problems as they get older. So too, women, in your situation, time is going to humble you. But I really hope that because you guys realize you're living life where life is really giving you so much at the very start, so much at the front. You guys are front loaded to have so much fun, to have so much of everything that is good in this world. You need to remain humble, because in your latter years, as you turn over 30, there's going to be a shift. And if you're not prepared for that shift, you're going to be scratching and clawing to keep reliving your glory days of your youth. And that's just not a good way to live. I guarantee you, it's not a good way to live. And the case in point is looking at these people that are constantly in your face. But you guys don't see that these people are not the same people. Like all of the actresses that were popular when I'm 60 years old, when I was 20, they're 60 years old now or older, or they might be a few years younger. But most of these women, if you guys, there's videos where they actually show how time has humbled these women. They're no longer of any notoriety. They're no longer even something that people would want to take photos of. And I'm pretty sure most of these women wouldn't really want to be photographed in their current states. Like one woman that I would say, and I'm not even saying this to be insulting to her, because she retired quietly, I would say. But if you look back at when she was in her youth, she was carrying on and making all kind of terrible things. I mean, her marriage blew up, and Kim Basinger, that let me just tell you who I'm talking about. Kim Basinger, beautiful, gorgeous woman. Now she doesn't look like much. She doesn't look like much. She's not attractive on any level, even as an older woman. She's one woman that time is humbled, and no man's banging down her door trying to get at her. Nobody's really interested in visiting her to say, you're my idol. I admire you so much. La 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 la. But many of the men that was her contemporaries, they're still fairly popular, and people are still interested in meeting up with these dudes. In fact, a lot of these women's daughters are dating some of these guys, which is something to give pause to say, as a 60-year-old man, I look forward. See, and this is something that, women, you guys can't say at 60 years old, I look forward to starting a family with a, like me, I'm saying this. I look forward to starting another family with a woman between the ages of 18 and 22. Now, my business partner, he's a little upset. He's calling me a pedophile. He's calling me sick. He's giving me all these insulting names. But we're talking about grown women. 18 is the age of legal consent. It's the age where you have the right to vote. The only thing you can't do at 18 is drink alcohol. And I think that's wonderful, because now you're dealing with women that are not going to be so influenced by alcohol to make a decision that will impact their lives either in a negative way or a positive way. And I'm basically telling my business partner, look, I'm not a man looking to just have sex with women. And this is the thing that you don't seem to understand. It's so important to me to have healthy children and to have a woman that hasn't been so polluted by the culture that 18 to 22 is going to be my limit in terms of potential partners for this second marriage. But believe it or not, it's not up to him to judge. It's going to be up to these women. And I already know at 60, I've met women between those ages that are very interested. But the problem is, for the ones that I met, I didn't have sex with any of these women, because it's not about me indulging or partaking in sexual activities with these women. It's serious. This is serious. Life is serious. Become very serious to me, man. And I think this is a telling sign to a lot of these older actors. Some of these guys having kids at 70 years old. They want to leave something behind more than just their career and their memories. They want to leave behind something that will continue to echo their name in a literal sense, where Al Pacino, he's got a daughter now, blah blah Pacino, whatever her name. I don't even know her name. I know she's gonna be popular because of her father, and she's going to be given privileges because of her father, and her father's name is going to echo throughout history. And then they're going to have she's going to marry somebody excuse me or she's going to have children, and unless these children garner success on their own merit, they can rest on the laurels of their grandfather. And many children will be able to rest on the laurels of those that came before them for years to come. Kobe Bryant is in jeopardy of losing his family legacy in terms of the legacy continuing on to say, yeah, I'm Kobe Bryant's great grandson. I'm his grandson. I'm this, I'm that. Because his wife is not getting proper counsel in expanding her husband's legacy. But just pay attention to a lot of these women that are presented to you currently in media. And if you go back 20 years, in the archives, you're going to see that these faces are different. This is a whole new batch of people. And for the ones that are no longer noteworthy, no longer photogenic, no longer, the only thing that they should have now is no embarrassing history of what they did when they were young. Let's look at Kim Kardashian as an example. She's made a crap ton of money, but what got her off to being famous is the very thing that she now regrets. When people started sending messages to her children through the internet, showing her mother doing these vile acts with Ray J, hearing about all of these nasty, filthy things that she did. It's really sad. You know, she enjoyed the making of the money, but how she made the money now has become, you know, an embarrassment. Now the kids are going to be, whether she likes it or not, they're going to see these videos. They're going to see just how nasty and vulgar and how embarrassing, you know, to see your mother, you know. It's one thing to hear rumors about your mother doing vile, nasty things. It's another thing to actually know it. And then to hear about it firsthand from actual participants and witnesses, it's like, oh my God, wow. Time is going to humble you, ladies. But hopefully, in you losing your youth, you losing your beauty, the one thing that you can hold on to is that you are a good woman. And goodness is going to be measured by what people say about you, not what you say about yourself or how you think and feel about yourself. Just remember that. And a lot of your so-called friends that were telling you, don't worry about it, girl, and, you know, you go, girl, and doing all this other kind of stuff, they're going to be the same people that are going to look at you and just shake their head and just say, yep, such a shame. She was so beautiful. You know, trust and believe, they're going to hop the fence. You guys think you're doing something great when here it is. That was just the devil egging you on in your pride. You know, I got a sister now. She spent so many years using drugs and, you know, being out there in the street doing whatever she wanted to do. She did whatever she wanted to do. She was fortunate to run into a man willing to marry her. He was a veteran. She was smart enough, having a degree, a college degree, to get a good job, pays well. But time has a way of putting a twist on everybody that thinks that they're doing okay. And it's coming. If it hasn't already come to my sister, it's coming. I know time has humbled her because she's overweight, she's old, she's not so attractive, and the only people that really want to be around her is her kids and other people that want to use her, like her nieces. You know, they'll live with her and pay very little rent. And the reason why she's willing to do it is because if she didn't do these things for these people, nobody would want to be around her at all. So time has humbled her in the greatest way. And as much as she says that she's born again and this and that, she keeps relapsing into using drugs. But, you know, she believes in the Bible. And if she believes in the Bible, God said that, hey, once you've been set free, you're free indeed. Now, if you are free, why are you going back to using drugs? You know, when God warns of the people that relapse, he said, don't play with God's patience and don't play with his love, because you might go back like Pharaoh. Pharaoh, when Moses approached Pharaoh, Moses knew from the beginning what was going to happen. Because if you read the story, God gave Moses a big power. He says, listen, man, Pharaoh's going to say no, 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 no. And understand this. He's going to say no to freely. He's going to freely say no. And he's going to say no so many times that when he's given the choice It won't even be a choice. It's going to be me condemning him for the choices he had already made. And he's going to lose his child, his firstborn son. And in his grief, he's going to want you guys to get as far away from him as you possibly can. That's what the Bible says. So, same thing with my sister. She thinks she's righteous. She thinks she's holy. God has been good to humble her. Took away her youth, took away her beauty, took away her family for a moment, and he was gracious enough to restore it to the point where the last time before this recent time, which was 4 years ago, I told my sister that if she were to relapse, that she would never see me again. Don't even bother calling to look for me or anything like this. And and about maybe 2 years or 3 years after that, no, it had been 10 years. 10 years she was sober, and then boom, 4 years ago she relapsed. And I go over there, and I'm calling myself trying to help my sister. I was willing to be a liar to help my sister. Go against my own vow, my own commitment. I loved her that much. I still love my sister. And, I was greeted by a bunch of devils, I mean, literally, I was greeted by a bunch of devils. People who I call myself loving, they wanting to do violence to me. They want to dishonor me by cussing at me, telling me to get the fuck out. I don't need to tell you the circumstances surrounding the context of all of that. All I can tell you is I was double hurt in that, one, I'm over here trying to help my sister, and then two, I literally get attacked to where, 1 minute I was somewhat welcome there, next minute, get the fuck out. And there's no honor, there's no remembering all of these wonderful things I did for these people. The only thing they want is to talk to me as if I'm a stranger attacking one of them. Get the fuck out. And I'm like, oh, you're going to have to tell me twice. And it won't, and it's likely I won't ever come back. But that was 4 years ago. And last year, I actually visited my sister's home. In fact, no, it was this year. This year in 2025, right? Right at the time that my father died. Shortly, I think before he died or shortly after. I can't really remember. But it was within 3 months of my father's death, either before his death or after his death, that I went and visited, trying to make peace, trying to hopefully bury the hatchet, and we all move on as if, all of this bad blood was never between us. But it didn't happen that way. So eventually I left there yet again, and I basically recommitted myself to not deal with any of them until I get to the destination where I'm traveling. I'm on a time scale of age 65. I want to be making at least, I want to have mailbox money to the tune of about 40 grand a month. And I'm on track to make that happen, believe it or not, folks. I'm parked in front of the first two houses on the lot. You can't really see them, but if you look above the parked car, you'll see 2 power poles. And if you look really closely, you could probably pause the video and zoom in. You'll see these poles have no wires connected to them. There's wires that are dangling down. Those are service panels. The one that's furthest away, that's kind of like in the middle, if you're looking at the car in 2 dimensions, it's kind of like at the top of the middle of the car. That's a single house metered panel. The one that's closest to us, where you can see the corner of the eave of the house, and it's kind of right at the edge of it, that is a 2-meter pole. So we got service to 3 of these homes. 2 are connected together and 1 is detached. We're finishing this up by, I believe, hopefully the end of next week, or in 2 weeks or so. All of this dirt. The driveway is going to be graded out and paved. And that'll be like the last bit of the work that needs to be done here at this property. And then we'll move on to the next 4 properties. We got a couple in Altadena and we got a couple in the Palisades. And just recently we got a visit from some people that own property in Palos Verdes. We did some work there on a house in Palos Verdes, and we weren't the general. In fact, that general, he died. And as a result of this relationship that my business partner had with the deceased contractor, the property owners decided to give us a shot because we were men of our word. We did things efficiently, with precision. And when we said we would come, we would show up and get the business done. And if there were any issues later on in the future, we'd come back and deal with them directly. It wouldn't be, oh, I called this guy 20 times. No, they would call us, hey, we got an issue. Could you come by and take a look at this for us? And we'd say, okay. And most of the time it was something unrelated to what we did. And, but we would schedule, and we would schedule it within a reasonable amount of time. Within 48 to 72 hours, we would be back at that house. Or we would be there the very day they called. That was one thing. I think I'm going to see if I can get some of these people to give testimonials later on down the road, to just show you guys, you know, you got to be about the business. You can't be about excuses, playing games, blaming other people for, you know, your mistake. You got to be willing to take responsibility. But getting back to this, time humbles men. No, life humbles men. From the very beginning, you got to work. You got to build. You're going to build your reputation. You're going to build your good name. And as someone said, it takes years to build a good reputation, but it only takes a moment to destroy it. So too, ladies, it takes time to build a good reputation, but it doesn't take too much to destroy it. And a lot of times women like Kim Kardashian, they build a lot of money, you know, doing dumb shit. But their reputation is so awful that the only time that they see the awfulness of their actions is after a few decades, a few years. Because she really thought she was doing something. I'm rich now. Look, I did a porno movie with Ray J. Did some of these most abominable things that shouldn't really even be photoed on video. And now I'm a mother. Oh my God, what's gonna happen to these videos? My kids are infants now, but pretty soon they're gonna be walking and talking and going to school and hanging out. And I remember, without having any real evidence of anything, I mean, kids can be very vicious in cracking jokes. You know, black people, we used to call it playing the dozens, where you start talking about your mama. Your mama's so fat that her belt is the equator. Your mama's so ugly. You know, just any old kind of dumb shit that we could say. Just having today in modern society, smartphones on video, and, you know, for kids to be able to access actual footage of your mother doing what is done on porno sites, that's the humility that time is going to give a woman. So all you women on Instagram, all you women that are between the ages of 18 and 22, you know, you better start paying more attention to these stories of these women that you guys are admiring. You know, you better start paying more attention to what's happening now that they're no longer young, beautiful women. They're older. They're still attractive, you know, but they're not beautiful compared to the way they look when they were 18 to 25. Trust and believe. You know, my ex-wife, you know, she's definitely not as beautiful as she was physically when she was younger, but she did so many things that I know she regrets now. She looks forward. I mean, she's looking currently and imagining, if I hadn't done this, I might still be married, and, I might have been able to work with my husband, and life would have been so much more comfortable than it is right now. And it's true. The only thing that slowed me down from getting where I'm headed right now, and the thing is, you guys, I started at 59 years old, and here it is, me and my business partner, we're saying 65 at the latest. That's the latest. We're thinking by the time I'm 62 or 63, that's 2 years, 3 years from now, we'll get there. Because we're on track, we're disciplined, we're focused, and our reputation is going forth that we know what we're doing and we're getting things done. These houses here didn't exist 5 months ago. It was an empty lot in the back. And not only did we build these 2 houses on the existing house here, we ended up adding a closet and a bathroom. So I would say two and a fifth of a house. Doing the math of the proportions here. 2 and a fifth of a house. We did that much in 5 months. So, men, don't be jealous of women in their youth. I know it's kind of frustrating that you would want to hold these women and, love them and all of this other kind of stuff. You'll be lucky if you can find one that really is humble and gorgeous. My mother, that's what messed me up. My mother was a very gorgeous woman, and she was very humble about it because she understood, hey, it's only going to last so long, and what really is going to count is what I put into this thing that's greater than myself, this thing that everybody really appreciates and reminisces on, and that's family. In your latter years, those family get-togethers become so much more precious. I remember going to about 3 of them at my sister's house, where she became just overwhelmed with joy, that she was driven to tears, and rightfully so, because, who goes through life spends the best years of their lives out in the street, prostituting and using drugs and alcohol? How many are so fortunate to enjoy 4 years and many more opportunities to have your family come surround you, share a meal, laugh, tell great jokes, and then play music and dance without any alcohol, just the presence of each other? It's something that's become very rare in today's culture, and it's so rare that we're lucky to do it just with the immediate family members, the sons and daughters. We're lucky to even have it just with the immediate family members. But when I was younger, we had family reunions where people that didn't even have our last names, but they're all related because they could actually show who married who, whose names got changed here and there and all that. We're all getting together at civic centers. What was it? In Linwood, there's a place called Bateman Hall. We had a family reunion there in Linwood, California, Bateman Hall. And it wasn't enough room for all of the people that showed up. It spilled over outside. Picnic tables and things had to be added because we had so many RSVPs. It was amazing to see. But nobody speaks of all of these things that have been lost over the years as a result of people becoming more selfish. So anyway, I think I've spoken enough about everything. Time humbles men, whether men like it or not, But most of the men that are humbled, they're still able to get on with life and do pretty good for themselves. For the women, it's more devastating because all of the things that humble you are things that you lose. You lose it and you can't get it back. No matter how many times you go to the doctor, no matter how much makeup you put on that face, and no matter how many Pilates you do, you are going to lose it. And when it's finally gone, you're going to be miserable unless you did what you were supposed to do. Because the misery is going to be in, oh my God, now what do I have left? I don't even have a man that's willing to honor me for giving my youth to him. I don't even, my children, they don't want to have nothing to do with me because I'm like a parasite now. But anyway, I've said enough. You guys have a good day. It's Sunday. Yeah, I should be resting, but I'm compressing the sacrifice. I'm doing good on a day where I should be resting. And for that, I'm humbled. Take care.